Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. We are 2 days away from Mike Tyson fighting at the age of 58. Tony, when was your last fist fight?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Last week, I drummed Gene Shalit. Now, people will say he's 98, but he's a young 98. He's a young 98.
Is he 98?
He's 98.
He's with us.
He's 98. He's still got a left.
Gene Shalit.
You got it. He'll bait you. He'll throw the left a little bit low and bait you and come across the top with the right.
That mop of hair would distract me.
Yeah.
Does he still have that?
Yeah. Well, we're not close personally, but I think, yes, he does.
Okay.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Kentucky tops Duke, Klay Thompson returns to the Bay Area, and the Colts turn back to Anthony Richardson. But we begin today with the latest college football playoff rankings that were announced last night. The headline is probably that Georgia dropped 9 spots from number 3 to number 12 after losing to Ole Miss.
Good.
And the Bulldogs would not make the playoffs if they started today. Wilbon, your Big Ten holds 4 of the top 5 spots, and the SEC holds 9 of the top 25. So what are your takeaways from last night's rankings?
I don't have any takeaways.
I knew you wouldn't. Just stop talking, because I have a lot.
People can be dramatic about this stuff if they want. Breaking news! No, it isn't. There's a committee that is charged with the responsibility of stuffing as many SEC and Big Ten teams into a 12-team bag as they can.
Right.
And right now the number stands at 8. And if they can make it 9, it is 8. It's 4 and 4. It's 8.
Well, no, you're not. You're wrong. Well, go ahead, finish.
Whatever it is, it's. I'm not going to say it's too many. I don't have a quibble with the teams that are there. I'm glad Georgia got bounced a few spots. I don't. And then Notre Dame's going to pop up, and that'll make you happy.
Yeah.
This is all of just a phony show without any sort of real drama at all. It's created TV talking head drama. Take it away.
Okay, because I get geeked up about it.
I know you do.
My first takeaway is that SMU dropped 1. They dropped to number 13. They didn't play over the weekend. They're a 1-loss team. They're at number 13. There are 3 2-loss SEC teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
So to confirm your suspicions, to me, this is what the committee's strategy is.
Yes. It's not a strategy.
After you take away the 5 champions, the 4 real champions, and then the gang of 5, whatever that thing is that Boise State's going to be.
Gang of 5.
Then you have...
Are you saying, by the way, Boise State doesn't belong?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
They do belong.
All right.
Then there are going to be 7 wild card teams.
Yeah.
I believe that they will be filled by 6 total from the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yes, I agree.
And Notre Dame. And they want Notre Dame because Notre Dame brings in an enormous amount of people who watch. Okay, so this leads me to 2 questions, one of which we have talked about before.
What?
Will there be a 3-loss team from the SEC in the field? Now, what?
If it's Alabama, it will be.
Hold on. It is very possible that the SEC championship game will be between 2 2-loss teams.
Yeah.
Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. Maybe Texas will have 2 by then. Maybe Tennessee will have 2 by then. So that is a possibility. And what that does is create this problem. If you're BYU, if BYU loses the Big 12 championship game and they end their season, let's say they end their season at 11-1 and 12-1, will they be out? They're at 6 now. Will they be bounced out? Miami gave the committee a great break because they lost, which means that Miami SMU will probably be the ACC championship game. Yeah. The loser will have 2 losses. You can throw a 2-loss team out because some 2-loss teams will be out. I love this stuff. I know you don't like it. No. I love it.
Not only do I, you know what? It's not that I don't like it. I resent it. I resent the hell out of it.
You're a trustee in one of the conferences that's getting all the money.
It's a phony thing that has seduced all the partners, you know what we used to call this when you and I were tough newspaper guys? We call them stooges.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now you're a stooge.
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
You admit it. I give you credit.
I like it.
2 big returns in the NBA last night. Joel Embiid returned to the court for the first time this season. Take that, Tony. He's a little rusty against the Knicks. And the Sixers fell for the 8th time in 10 games this season. And out in San Francisco, Klay Thompson made an emotional return to the hat-waving fans at Chase Center. He had 22 for the Mavs, but his old backcourt mate, Stephen Curry, had 37, including the last 12 for the Dubs in a come-from-behind win. Which of these games said more to you?
They are completely different games.
Yeah.
One of them is totally heartwarming. It is lovely that Klay Thompson went back to Golden State.
Wasn't it great?
it is lovely that he was serenaded with a fabulous ovation. It's lovely they all waved those hats. I didn't know he had anything to do with being a ship's captain, but I guess he does. And it was lovely that I believe he shot 6 for 12 from 3. Okay, the other game was not heartwarming at all. Joel Embiid stunk the joint out. He was awful.
It was his first game.
He was.
Can you grade on the curve a little bit?
He was awful. He shot 2 for 11 from the field. He played 26 minutes.
No
he had
boards.
3 rebounds. That's all. Okay?
He was gassed all the time.
Totally gassed. You used the word rusty.
Yeah.
That is very kind and charitable of you.
Well,
okay.
I'm that kind of guy.
He was actually terrible. And he has to play himself back into shape. You can't play yourself back into shape if you sit out the back-to-back.
He's out. He and Paul George have been declared out. They both said they wanted to play.
We're going to look at a lot more things like this, and this is why I would say to you, I'm not sure I trust the process now.
Well, I don't know. Here's the tough thing, and what you're saying is true. But you almost have to do this with him. Like I don't know that there's an alternative. Both things can be true. You look at this and you go, wait a minute. You can't play like this. You've got to get yourself in shape. But then if he plays, he's back-to-back, he gets hurt, we're all going to say, aha, Embiid's hurt again. But let me go to something else, because let me go to something I know if you've been awake. And when you found out the results, it was heartwarming. Stephen Curry.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if you live someplace and you can see Stephen Curry, put your money down and go see Steph Curry play. Because, Tony, you know what? He is going to retire one of the 10 greatest players of all time. I know that means somebody's got to be thrown out, then throw him the hell out. Yeah. Steph Curry and what he can do, he's changed the game of basketball.
It was important that he went out there last night and in the last 3 minutes of that game was the best basketball player on the planet.
Yeah.
Scored their last 12 points. Got to do the night-night thing. Somebody should have said to Embiid night-night pretty early in the evening. But Steph Curry got to do that, whereas Embiid, Embiid looks like he hasn't played in 3 months, and you know why?
He hasn't.
That's right. He hasn't.
Would you, if you ran the 76ers, would you let Embiid play tonight, coming off last night?
Of course I would, and you know why? Because he gets hurt at the first game of a back-to-back, too. It doesn't matter. You got to play your way into shape.
Man,
let's turn to college basketball.
Mean.
Number 6, Duke, was caught in the second half and passed by number 17, Kentucky, 77-72. Celebrated Duke freshman, 17-year-old Cooper Flagg, had 26 points and 12 rebounds, but he also committed 2 turnovers in the last 20 seconds or so, which you and your son were watching.
Yeah.
This was certainly Mark Pope's biggest win so far as first-year coach of Kentucky. So, Wilbon, what stands out to you more, the way the Wildcats won or the way the Blue Devils lost?
Great win for Kentucky. Now, that wraps up that portion of the program. So, Cooper Flagg, I've been hearing about this kid for 3 years. In my house, my son goes crazy. He would leave home to live with Cooper Flagg. That's how much he loves him. But at the end of this game, I said, you're going to give the ball to Cooper Flagg? He goes, no, I'm going to give the ball to Proctor. Tyrese Proctor. And he's that age. He knows all these kids. He's played against a few of them. Tyrese Proctor, you can't give the ball to Cooper Flagg. Turnover. I go, aha! They got another chance for 5.1. Who are you going to give the ball to now? Proctor.
All right.
Flagg made 2 bad turnovers and didn't block out on a rebound at the end of the game. But let me say this, and I had to say that because now I got to give my son credit. I don't even want to do that. His own coaches bought the hype. Just treat him like he's a freshman. Remember how you and I were around for Dean Smith and John Thompson and the way they treated their freshmen who, oh, wait a minute, guys like James Worthy, Sam Perkins, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, they're in the Hall of Fame. But those coaches would not turn the game over to their freshmen the first night. He had no business with the ball in those 2 situations. He's a great, great player, had a nice game. Yeah. Just don't buy the hype.
So I will confess that I didn't watch the game. I was not awake for the game, but I saw the highlights. The thing that stands out for me in all of these sorts of games early on is they don't really matter. They're fun to watch, but they don't really matter.
Result, okay.
The other thing that stands out to me is this kid is 17.
Yeah.
At 17, they are saying he's going to be the projected overall number 1 draft pick. And now he is only 17 years old. That's an awful lot of pressure on somebody, but it's also college basketball. The best of them are with us for about an hour. It's like they're all waiting in a train station to get on a train and get out. I don't think these things matter. I think you have to look at this team. Duke is starting a lot of freshmen. Kentucky starts all 5 transfers. So they're not real teams yet. They may gel in March, but they're liquid now. This is why I admire Tom Izzo, because Tom Izzo in November and December plays the hardest teams he can find. He doesn't care if he loses all the games. He played number 1 Kansas last night. So I admire that.
Oh, this kid Knipple, another freshman on Duke, he actually looked as good. He can shoot it.
And by March, they may be great.
I'm sure Cooper Flagg, everybody you talk to says the same thing. There's no dissent on Cooper Flagg and whether he can play. All I'm saying is they gave him the ball twice in the situations last night, and it didn't work. He's a kid.
17-year-old freshman.
But he's also going to be the first player chosen in the draft. So which is it? Which is it? If he's going to be the first player chosen, aren't you going to depend on him to win
I'm going to tell people what we talked about this afternoon.
What?
Everybody knew Victor Wembanyama would be the number 1 person chosen in the draft, and he was 19 years old. But he wasn't here.
Not this
He
pressure.
was in France.
This kid's got
He
pressure.
didn't have the television on him all the time here. He did not have that. Let's take a break.
He does.
Coming up, the Colts changed quarterbacks once again.
And what kind of coach would Dion be for the Cowboys?
That's Dion without the beard. He's got a beard now.
Yeah, he does. I like Dion clean shaven. That's just me. So this guy Knipple. He's drafting behind Cooper Flagg.
Let's see what happens.
Pardon the Interruption is presented by Crown Royal, part of Happy Hour.
Time to get it on with Lexicon. What's first?
The Colts' decision to go back to Anthony Richardson at quarterback is blank.
My word is correct. They sat him out for 2 weeks. They went to the veteran, right? They went to Flacco.
They did.
They lost both these games. They lost to Minnesota and Buffalo. These are good teams. Anthony Richardson would not have beaten those teams, but he had the chance to sit and watch and maybe learn a little bit about what it's like to be a professional quarterback. He's going to come back against the Jets. This is the easiest situation he could ever have. The Jets are a very beatable team, and he can gain confidence. If he loses this game, Mike, if he continues to make pass completions at the terrible 44th percentile that he's at now, he might not see the field for the rest of the year. They might even decide to trade him. So this is his opportunity. They're 4-6. They need this game. It's on him.
It's predictable, is what it is, because you've got a guy you spent all this on. You're banking your future on Anthony Richardson being your quarterback of the future, your franchise quarterback, the face of that franchise, and you can't have him not out there. So it's predictable they were going to run him back in as soon as he had a break. By the way, 44%. You know when that worked?
It's awful.
That worked in 1944. You could complete 44% and maybe be in the Pro Bowl in 1944. Now, with the short passes you throw, you ought to be able to run up a completion percentage, and he can't even seem to do that. Throws a deep ball well, but throws it too often and hangs it up there, and it gets picked. He throws way too many interceptions. It's still predictable they're putting him back.
4th overall pick, so that's why you put him back.
Of course.
I mean, there's no, of course Flacco couldn't beat Minnesota and Buffalo. That's a pretty hard double.
Not at this stage.
That's a pretty hard double, and this kid couldn't do it, but I think it's right that he goes out there. I do. What's next?
Deion Sanders would be a blank candidate to coach the Cowboys.
So my word is understandable. The Cowboys stink. Everyone believes that they will let Mike McCarthy go at the end of the season, right? And so why would they think of Deion? Well, Deion, first of all, was a great player in Dallas. Now as a coach in Colorado, he inherits a 1-12 team. He goes 4-8 the first year. He's 7-2 now. He could be in the Big 12 championship game. If that happens, that's a coaching credential, and it goes with his Cowboys connection. Now, he tells people all the time, I'm really happy here in Boulder, and he should say that, and he has to say that. But the truth of the matter is that there's going to be a drumbeat for him. If, in fact, he gets to the playoffs, there will be a drumbeat for him. His son is going to go into the pros next year, and he could too.
Listen, all that's true. But Deion in Dallas? Predictably dramatic is my word. Jerry Jones alone has a radio show, a podcast. He stands in the middle of the locker room and runs his mouth after every game.
Yeah, that's right.
There's no owner or GM in the league who does that but
right.
Jerry.
That's right.
And now to that, you're going to add Deion.
Yeah.
Everybody with a camera in America wants to be near Deion.
Yeah.
let's declare our baggage. We both love Deion Sanders. We
That's
know him,
right.
we love him.
That's right.
I got a place for Deion, and it ain't the Cowboys. How about Florida State? How about his sorry blank alma mater? How about them? They can't win a game. They don't need Deion more than the Cowboys? Huh? Florida
Mike,
State?
are
He's
you-
at college. He's already proven himself at that level.
Deion-
He can go back there, go to the transfer portal once, and probably get them to an Orange Bowl or
Deion
something.
is going to have a podcast wherever he goes.
Yeah,
He's going to be on TV wherever he
He
goes.
should.
He's going to talk to that duck wherever he goes because he's Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where he is. The Cowboys are a great opportunity.
Florida State or the Cowboys? Better job for
think-
Deion.
Do you think Florida State's going to dump that coach who was 13-0 last year? I don't.
Ain't
That's the
13-0
final
this
word.
year.
Let's take one last break. Still to come. The Winnipeg Jets keep rolling.
And Caitlin Clark shows some nerves on the tee box.
So the Jets winning last night in New York is the first Jets team to win in New York in a while, don't you think?
Probably so.
It's not the New York Jets.
Probably so. No, it ain't the guy
Winnipeg.
wearing number 8.
Tonight on Sports.
Interruption is presented by Crown Royal. Follow the Crown Royal rig all season long and kick off with Crown. Please drink responsibly. Part of Happy Hour.
Happy time, people. Happy 74th birthday, Gilbert Perreault. History lesson, kids. The Sabres Hall of Fame Center is best known for being in the middle of Buffalo's French Connection line. Perreault was flanked on the left by Rick Martin and on the right by René Robert. All three were French-Canadian, hence the nickname after the famous movie, Fabulous Movie. They were playoff perennials, though they never won the Stanley Cup. They made the final in 1975, losing in 6 games to Philadelphia. Years later, Perreault said, quote, "I can't forget that in 17 years, I only went to the final once," unquote. Perreault scored 512 career goals,
Wow.
had 814 career assists. Bobby Orr called him the best player he ever played against. Perreault remains the Sabres franchise leader in games played, goals, assists, and total points.
I was glad you mentioned Rick Martin. Desjardins was the goaltender on that team, right? At least the number one guy. You know, I've spent a lot of time in Buffalo in my life when the Bills were good. The Bills and Sabres, they've had some really good teams, but they have left some heartbreak, haven't they?
You've spent a lot of time in a lot of cities.
Buffalo, Cleveland.
You go everywhere.
Snow Belt, baby.
Happy anniversary, Drew Bledsoe. On this day 30 years ago, the Patriots' then second-year quarterback set NFL single-game records for pass attempts and completions when he went 45 for 70. Bledsoe finished with 426 yards, 3 touchdowns, and notably no interceptions as the Pats survived the Vikings 26-20. These records still stand, though Jared Goff tied the 45 completions in 2019. In March of 2001, Bledsoe signed a then-record 10-year, $103 million contract with New England. In the second game of that 2001 season, Bledsoe got injured. He was replaced by a young quarterback you may have heard of, Tom Brady, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Bledsoe got Wally pipped.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yes.
He's Wally Pipp.
Yes.
Except Wally Pipp helped find and scout Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
I don't think that Bledsoe did that. But how much of that $103 million do you think Bledsoe actually got? What's the over-under?
I think he got
We can
it.
have
You don't
research
think he
check
got
that
it
for
all?
tomorrow.
And then he went
No.
he played in other teams. He did play in other places.
Okay, maybe he did.
A near happy trails to a spectator during Caitlin Clark's T-ball at number 3. Clark played alongside Nelly Corda at the Annika Pro-Am this morning, and on the third tee, Clark sent a ball whizzing over the heads of spectators along the rope line to the left side of the tee box. The 16
Hold it.
handicapper said earlier this week that her number one priority was not to hit anyone with a ball, and she nearly did it here. I have been in this situation at Avenel, Pro-Am. It's terrifying. I tell people, please move back.
saw you
Don't be in
shouting
front of
that.
me. I'm a 20. I could hit you. Wilbon, you've been in this situation too.
I have. Between the two of us, we played in a lot of pro-ams. I've never hit anybody. I don't know if I've come close. On the tee box, I've been all right. Now, further down the golf course on some second shots on a par 5,
Yes, you
I might have sprayed one.
Yeah, you can't do that. I was once
Get out of the
I
way.
was once on a driving range with Lee Jansen, who I think won the Open
you-
twice.
US Open, yeah.
He left the driving range because he said, "You're a chop. You're no good. I don't have anything to do with you."
On the range.
Left it.
That wasn't good.
Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Hunter Dickinson had
DMV.
28-12 in number 1 Kansas's win over Michigan State. Local kid, you impressed?
I am impressed. He's been around for a while, and I keep going, really? Yeah, he really is that good. Winnipeg Jets beat the Rangers 15-1. Every day we ask, Is it a big deal? Is it a big deal?
It is a big deal in the National Hockey League to go 15-1. And it is a big deal for the Jets to win in New York because the other team does not win.
Not number
in New
8.
York.
He ain't winning there.
Heat coach Eric Spoelstra blamed himself for calling a timeout when he didn't have one with 1 second left in the overtime and a loss to the Pistons. Your thoughts about the new Chris Webber?
It was costly. It was embarrassing, and Spoelstra owned it. Sat there and he owned it. Eric Spoelstra has earned a pass. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
The Rays' Tropicana Field won't be ready until 2026 after losing its roof at Hurricane Milton. Wow. Your thoughts?
Well, are they going to play in a minor league facility?
Plenty
Are
of
they going to play
ballparks.
in a spring training facility?
Plenty of ballparks.
They're not going to have many seats, but they don't draw a lot of people anyway, so it doesn't matter. Last one, my Knicks, my old Knicks anyway, host your Bulls tonight. You're going down, just FYI.
Yeah, I'd say 15 points or more. The
Really?
Bulls are not. The Bulls
Whoa, 15 or more?
Bulls are not.
We're out of
Knicks
time.
are.
We will try and do better the next time. Tracy Callahan, thank you.
Thank you,
Flowers,
Callahan today. I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcasts now.
So I forgot the Canadian flag yesterday. I had about 7 texts. What happened? And I just
It's back.
forgot. I got it.
It wasn't hostage. We got it.
Elena Getzenberg.
Mike with PTI's bonus segment.
All right, Wilbon, what is the most important / impactful Week 11 game in the NFL?
We got choices. We got 5 of them. Would have been 6, except Packers at Bears is now Drek. It doesn't matter.
That's right. That's fair.
Baltimore at Pittsburgh, Washington at Philly, Kansas City at Buffalo, Bengals at Chargers, Seahawks at Niners.
Yeah.
On that menu, out of that menu, I'm going to go with Baltimore at Pittsburgh. I really am. KC at Buffalo. I understand Buffalo's won these games in the regular season. You
Losing
can
the
easily pick
playoffs.
that, and I'm not going to argue against that.
Right.
But Baltimore, Pittsburgh, the way Pittsburgh has come on, and you got Lamar Jackson, who I think still is in the lead dog seat for MVP against Pittsburgh. You got this Russ situation where he has really gotten them to be a more dynamic team offensively. I can't believe we got 2 AFC games at the top of the marquee. I'm going to go with Baltimore at Pittsburgh.
So I have a difficult time separating Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Washington and Philadelphia. They are divisional games. They are with the teams that are 1 and 2 in the division.
Yeah.
They are both
they
important
are.
and impactful. Tomorrow night is the Washington game.
Thursday nighter.
Yeah, and it's a really
Not a
good
dog.
game.
No.
But the one that I would choose, and I would say not that it's impactful now, but it's important now, not impactful, is Kansas City at Buffalo. For this reason, Kansas City is actually the underdog in this game. They are 9-0, I believe, right? 9-0.
Yeah.
Buffalo's a very
Only
good
undefeated
team.
team left.
But Patrick Mahomes is getting 2.5 points. In his career, he is rarely an underdog. He is, let me get the numbers right, 11-3 when he's an underdog and 12-1-1 against the spread. I think that's the kind of game where you say to yourself, I'm going to stay, if I don't bet on Kansas City with Mahomes getting points, I'm staying away from the game completely because it's too scary, that game.
Are we being sponsored by ESPN Bet
No,
now?
but I
just wonder.
Every once in a while something comes up like this that Patrick, you never associate him with getting
Let me
points.
put you really on the spot before we get out of this segment. If you're one of the 72 Dolphins, members of that team,
Rooting against
are you
them.
drinking champagne this weekend?
I'm not certain. I'm not certain Buffalo will win. I'm not. I mean, Buffalo does. I think Buffalo has a history of winning this game in the regular season and not so much in the playoffs.
Let me go out on a slight
It would
limb.
actually be good for football if
Buffalo
won.
did win?
Yeah.
Buffalo's going to win.
Okay.
Buffalo's going to win. You heard it here. Back to you.